Hello, I'm Min Kobayashi. I am feeling much better. For those who don't know, I have an inflamed heart and lungs, but it's now been about 2 weeks. I am feeling much better. Still not supposed to actually be really sitting up, but I'm breaking that because I love to film. I am blown away by the support and love that you guys have given me. Thank you so much. I love the booktube community. It is so amazing and so happy to be part of it. I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. It is a staple of the booktube community. First one is the best book. I am going to say Dear Martin by Nick Stone. It tells the story of Justice Runley imprisoned when he was trying to help his girlfriend, who is half white, half black, and can kind of pass for white, to not drive. He was like, you can't drive, and took her keys and stuff and put her in the back seat. And the cop was like, you're clearly trying to harm this woman because you're a black man and she's white. After that, he decides that he wants to rise above this, and he's like, how did Martin Luther King rise above and come and be loving toward the people that were prejudiced against him? And he begins to write letters to Martin Luther King, and it is a beautiful story. It's heart-wrenching. It made me laugh, it made me cry, and I kind of want to reread it already. Best sequel. So Saga, all of them. I read from the 4th all the way to the 8th volume. It is just a phenomenal series. I love Hazel. I love all of the characters and the diversity and the wordplay. I literally filled pages with quotes from the book. Brings about things in an alternate world where you're like, yeah, that's definitely happening here too. As well as The Midnight Star. I love this story. I'm not going to spoil it because it's the London Elite's 3rd book and the final of the series. The series revolves around Adelina and her fighting darkness, as well as having cool superpowers. All of these superpowered individuals in this very interesting, very complex, and well-built fantasy, which has 2 moons. Number 3 new releases you haven't read but you want to. I wrote Children of Blood and Bone because I'm all there for African-inspired stories. I think it is so awesome that we are finally getting stories that are not just centered around white people in white worlds in somehow their fantasy but don't have diversity. I know I've done rants on this before, so I cannot wait until I pick up this book, especially when it's not $30 in stores, because I'm a poor college student. And then I have Beneath the Sugar Sky. I have read the first 2 of the Wayward Children's, and I really love them. I had my complaints. Overall, I enjoyed them, and this one came out in January. I haven't found a version of it yet, but I plan on reading it soon. Most anticipated releases in the second half. The 3rd book in And I Darken series, Bright We Burn. It comes out in July, and I cannot wait to read it. I love the series. It is if Vlad the Impaler was a woman. It has such complex stories, the struggles and the fights and the dynamics. I love it so much. And I have Arch Enemies, which is the 2nd book in the Renegade series. Wildcard, which is the 2nd book in the Warcross series. I think it's a duology, so it's finishing up, which I'm excited for. That is by Marie Lu as well, which I will continue to talk about. Biggest disappointments. So the first one, I did a whole vlog where I complained about this book. Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. It sounds like such an interesting book. I don't know why I'm holding a pen, but why? So hyped, so disappointed. Stormfront. I've been hearing people hype up this book for so long. It is set in Chicago. It's about a wizard detective, and it just sounds great. I ended up DNFing it because it had a lot of sexist things in it and ways that it was just not very great for the women in the story. It wasn't necessarily outright sexist, it's just some of the things it was really, do we need that? And not my cup of tea, and I was hoping it was going to get better because I can give some patience for that. However, I read reviews on almost the entire series, and that was a continuous thread that the women were being over-sexualized and just not given very good roles or representation. Very big a disappointment because I was really hyped for the series. Bear and the Nightingale. I know this is really loved, and there's some booktubers that I really admire that's their new favorite book, but found myself really bored. Also, I just didn't like the main character. Biggest surprise, I'm going to say Anthem by Ayn Rand. I know no one has ever heard about this book, and I raved about it, but my goodness, it is such a good book. It tackles collectivism, and it's a dystopian by a very great revolutionary writer, and I just want to read more of her books. They're all 1,500 pages long, which is why I haven't delved in yet. On May We Reign by Rihanna Thomas. This book is being so underhyped and gotten a lot of critique. I loved it. Related characters, mental illness in fantasy. I've done a whole review. It's incredible. The Smell of Other People's Houses, I also did a review for this book. It tackles so many issues that are in the modern world, and it does it so well and in such a beautiful way, and the writing is extraordinary. Number 7, new favorite author. I don't think I could give this anything but Marie Lu. I think I read her first book in April, which was The London Elites, and I've now read 6 of her books. I just need to finish the last books in the... I'm blanking on the name of the series. Her first series, the Legend series, and I will have read her entire works in like 3 months. Fictional crush. I don't have like huge crushes on these people, but these are the men in books that I was like, you're pretty great. And that would be Maggiano from The London Elites, Ellen from Mistborn, and Adrian Everhart from Renegades. I thought all of them were cute and bookish and are just magical and super kind guys. Newest favorite character, Radu from And I Darken. He is, love him. Sarah Jane from Dear Martin. She's awesome. Definitely relate to her. 10, a book that made you cry. The Midnight Star. I cried so much during this book. It's incredible. Books that made you happy. Emma by Jane Austen. I thought this book was amazing and I was just like laughing and huge smile the whole time I read it. And The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It is amazing and funny and wonderful. And then favorite adaptation. I haven't watched any adaptations that came out this year, but the one that I started this year, which I love, is The Last Kingdom. I'm about done the first book in the series as well, and the book does not disappoint. Favorite video you did this year? I have 2 answers for this. I really enjoyed doing the Disney writing tag because even though I'm a writer, I don't find ways to mention them very much on my channel, and I love talking about my books and my characters. And short classics. This is one of like my least watched videos, but I loved it. I love classics. Most beautiful book you received this year or bought, and that is The Beyond Good and Evil. Isn't this so gorgeous? The last question is a book that you have to finish by the end of the year. I have many books that I should finish by the end of the year, but I think my biggest sin is probably The Book Thief. I know I'm gonna love this book so much. I've been wanting to read it since I was like a teenager. Actually, I think grade 9, and then I bought it last year, over a year ago, and I just need to read it. That is all. Have a great time, and happy reading and writing on many of your adventures. 'Cause you want to belong